like a guy like Mike Savage would say. Although I like Michael Savage, I think he's grown quite a bit. I think he's more honest and understanding than a lot of people out there. And we need to be intellectually honest. We don't even need to be particularly smart, but we need to be, put aside our political views and let the views, you say you believe in God, you say you're a Christian, whatever, then you've got to let those things supersede and override your political affiliations, opinions, and leanings and devotions, okay? And you've got to show it with your speech. So that means show it, start in your heart and your mind about those things you ruminate over, that you allow yourself to identify with, that create your opinions and your belief systems. Okay, let God in to that mix to make sure that you're coming from a Christian point of view, a believer point of view, so you don't malign and besmirch the name of God with your, political leanings superseding and overriding your spiritual beliefs. It's supposed to be the most important thing, right? Is your devotion to God and pleasing Him. And that's it. That's what it's all about. We're going to find happiness, then we're going to find freedom. And He's the grantor, He's the giver, He's the decider. We've got to adopt His beliefs. And a lot of times they're a lot different from ours, and we can all be evil, and we got to admit it. First step, even if you can't overcome your evil, even if you can't love your enemy from your heart, you don't know what that means. I didn't say you might not be called on, you might have to kill your enemy in self-defense. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in the meantime that there's no malice aforethought, premeditation in killing your enemy because you had to. Make sure there's not, by loving them and saying, I know what God's will is for you, to get out of darkness and into the light. And it's going to be hard because you're down in the darkness. You've really been evil. Okay, and it's going to be hard, and it looks illogical that I should even bother trying. But what is written is that all heaven rejoices more over one evil person that repents than 99 righteous people that didn't need to. Okay, that Jesus didn't come for the righteous, He came for the wicked. That we're supposed to be emulating God, representing, reflecting, imitating God, and going out there and winning over these evil people. And as bizarre as that sounds, as illogical as it sounds, as stupid as it sounds, that's what we're supposed to do. This is about unifying. And this is what they don't want. They don't want us empowered and unified. Good socialists and good capitalists and good men and good women and good blacks and good whites and good browns and good reds and good yellows and good conservatives and good liberals. Okay, and good Republicans and good Democrats coming together, being empowered under the banner of being an upright, decent human being and being God's friend and servant, and therefore by extension, servant of humanity, friend of humanity, and going out there and fighting the good fight. And even if we lose, we gave it our all. We did what we could. We had to do something. We've got a conscience. We've got to work toward a better world. And if we don't, then we're culpable. We're complicit through our indifference, our complacency, okay, to other people. And our ignorance is bliss philosophy is going to be proven to be the fraud and that it is. It's a cop-out. It's cowardly. We've got to give a damn about others. So no matter how well heeled you are financially, you've got to care about those that are having a hellish time contending in this system. They're the weak financial links in society. And the reason the welfare is there because it's optics. They can't just let men and women and children die out in the cold. They'd like to let that happen. Okay, but they had to throw some crumbs out there. Oh, look, we're compassionate, we care, but you guys got to get jobs and you got to be self-sufficient. It's your fault, and this is why we're spending these billions of dollars on the social welfare industry. $50 billion a year just in Section 8 housing to subsidize the housing costs of those who can't afford it, and we're tapped out now. Maybe if you give us another $50 billion, but all that's happened is the problem's gotten worse. They keep debasing the currency. We've got less and less affordable housing. Okay, it doesn't work. I mean, it's just like pouring gas into a gas tank with a gaping hole, and all the extra gas does, the faster you pour it in there, it just erodes the hole more. And the only answer is pour more, pour it faster. And eventually you pour it fast enough, we'll go in debt fast enough, and we'll, be Zimbabwe on steroids. That's what we're after. We don't just want Zimbabwe in slow motion here, Weimar Germany in slow motion. I'm talking about coin clipping, currency debasement through raising your cost of living tax. We want to put it on steroids. But really what these people are doing is they don't ever want that to happen either. They want the establishment to, they don't want to rock the boat too much. They don't want the system to fail because they're benefiting. These are insane people. They're leading us into oblivion. They don't have the answers. They need to be parented. Okay, because they don't know where this thing ends. It's not only like they want to rip the bandage off really, really slow, tortuously slow. The analogy of taking a bandage off, just rip it off and then let it heal, leave it alone, right? Like the correction of '08, that's what it would have been like. Yeah, it would have been a Band-Aid. We'd just send real estate prices, go through the floor for a while we had all this excess inventory and you know, we had to forgive some loans to people. And so anyhow, it hurt the real estate market a lot. And so at least it was perceived that way, but we had a market correction. That means your real estate dollars went through the roof. You understand? As the cost went through the floor, concurrently, simultaneously, just like a scale, the worth of your currency went through the roof. That's what would have happened. Maybe once again, you would be able to buy a house on a minimum wage job in your neighborhood. That's what could have happened. But that's like the bandage now. That would have been pulling the bandage off, let the banksters, the criminals fall on their faces. That's what they deserve. They deserve the wound, so the wound shouldn't have been on the backs of the people at all. They shouldn't have socialized the profits, the ill-gotten gains, and then privatized the debt is what they did. They put it on all our backs, okay? And we didn't deserve it. We're not the ones that were at fault. We weren't in the shenanigans. We didn't engage in liar loans, and we weren't one of the lenders that lended unscrupulously and recklessly, deliberately to cause these problems. Okay, no. But they want to keep putting the Band-Aid on and off. So they want to, you know, let them think it's healing a little bit, and then we'll rip it a little, and then we'll put it back on a little more. That's the only game they've got going. That's what's going on in California. There's no hope. I mean, the hope that you're going to enter middle-class home ownership in California is fading quicker and quicker and quicker. They want you to think it's not because they say, well, the demand is high, prices are going. Remember, all this immigration stuff is part of that. That's part of this picture here. People come from desperate lands, and to them, it just blows their mind the idea that they could actually make 10 or 15, 20 bucks an hour. And they're out there doing everything they can. And of course, a lot of them will hire illegal immigrants, and it's practically against the law if you don't hire illegal immigrants. But a lot of people are insulated because they get cost of living adjustments. So there's all these people whose jobs aren't affected because they're in a special guild or anything. They say, well, we don't hire illegal immigrants, can't get in. You can't have a real estate license, for example. You can't have a lender's license, but it's against the law for you to not sell real estate if you have a real estate license. It's against the law for you to not lend if you have a lender's license. Do you understand how this game works? Okay, so a lot of people's jobs are not only unaffected with all the migration in the world, like this Chamber of Communists. Do they hire undocumented workers at the Chamber of Communists? Let's ask ourselves that. And just consider all the multitude of jobs that are insulated from undocumented workers entering it. Teaching, okay, do they hire? Just think about countless. The medical industry, are they allowed to hire undocumented workers? Maybe for some of the lowly jobs they are, okay? That's how it goes. And the same with the educational. There's some of the lowly jobs where there's no hope, there's no protection. That's it. That's what they want to subjugate these people, marginalize these people, make them live in the shadows. Say, well, you did come here illegally. We're not going to talk about that, but you could do this job and still be on the payroll, or this job and this one, entry level into this occupation opened up for undocumented workers. See, they'll expand it slowly into other industries, but still, a lot of industries are protected. So that's why they're leading us into oblivion. They think that they're always going to be insulated. They're going to make so much hereditary wealth. They're going to leave it to their kids, so their kids will be insulated in perpetuity from these financial goings on. This perpetual, ever increasing national, state, and individual debt in the land. And just suck it up. I mean, that's it. That's their only answer is, well, we don't know. That's capitalism. I guess if you don't like it, then move out of America, right? That's the only answer to a guy like me, right? That's what they were telling me. And I'm saying, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm a native, okay? And you know what? I'm going to fight the good fight. And even if I lose, I'm going to be with the peeps, the regular peeps, and I'm going to be with God. And he, at the end of the day, is going to say, look, you did what you could do. And still the people wouldn't listen. And they needed to go through something that was just going to shock the crap out of them. We need something like a 95% drop in real estate costs. And that's what's going to take to set the ball in motion in the other direction. We need everything to get cheap because there's no way that wages are ever going to catch up to the cost of living. If you just do the simple math and just look on the face, I mean, you could do just basic math. And I don't want to get hyperbolic here, but you know, the equivalent buying power of $1 an hour 55 years ago, the minimum wage today would have to, by most estimates, be over $40 an hour. Okay, it might be less. Maybe in your neighborhood it's only 25 or 30 bucks an hour if you live in Arkansas or something. Okay. Nevertheless, if you live anywhere in California, yes, you're going to need like 40 bucks an hour, okay, to have the same level, the same standard of living, the same comfortable lifestyle that you shared where your wife could stay home and take care of the family and you could pay all the bills and the mortgage on the house and ever have some disposable income to entertain the family, take a vacation once in a while. You know, 200 bucks a month, right? $1 an hour, so what? You know, so that's about it. 200 bucks a month is fine. And now they're going to rent you a coffin apartment on your Social Security check. You're going to have to pay 200 bucks a month just for a little room, what essentially amounts to a shed. Okay, you're going to pay 200 bucks a month for some humiliating little shed you're going to have to live in. Okay, I mean, this is what we've come to. So, I'm sorry, folks, but we're in a whole lot of trouble. Some of the recent events I'm going to get into now. Well, that was quite a saga, that thing in Thailand, with the kids and the coach for the soccer team stuck in the cave. What a mess, huh? Well, lost a couple lives too, I understand too. The rescuers, it's really something. I'm glad the rest of them got out all right, but we humans were frail and weak, and we shouldn't get ourselves in stupid situations like that. You know, it's supposed to get over 100 today here locally, or about close to 100 here in Chico. But if you go north about 60 miles in Redding, it's supposed to be well over 100 this weekend. But you know, one of the comforting aspects is that the summer solstice is over. At June 21st is the when the sun is the longest in the sky, the longest day, right? Summer solstice. That's around June 20th, June 21st usually. And from then on, the days get shorter. So the endurance of these hot temperatures is less. But when they give the weather reports, they never mention that, even though the weathermen are cognizant of that fact that the endurance is less, the days are shorter as the days unwind. So we're already, 3 weeks now into shorter days, being that it's July 13th here. So we're almost 4 weeks, I guess, 3.5 weeks now into shorter days, but they fail to mention it. But I'm thinking that they need like a gauge, right? They need like an endurance gauge so that psychologically they can help people to contend. Because I'm sure there's people that have such a hard time with this heat that they blow their brains out, really. I mean, you know, when I talk about this organic suffering, that's one of the ways that we suffer. And it's not okay. I don't like it. And when, like Jesus said, at the end of the age, this renewal of all things takes place. That's one of the things that's going to be gone. When the earth is renewed, we're not going to have evil in control of things. And that punishing heat, that brutal heat, is emblematic that there is evil forces that are in control still. And this is consistent with Scripture. And that what we need is this renewal of all things. When we have a perfect temperature 24/7, okay, that's it, end of story. So in the meanwhile, I think that the weather stations should adopt an endurance gauge to show people that the days are getting shorter already. We had some nice cool days in June. Very nice, comfortable days, upper 70s and stuff here in Chico, which is very unusual, but very pleasant, leading up to the summer solstice. And, but this momentum kicks in, where the earth's been shining. It takes all this time for those rays to finally reach the surface. And So that's why it feels hotter for a while. It actually seems to get hotter, and we got these dog days of summer. But psychologically, people need help to deal with it, to cope, to contend with what's going on. And I think an endurance gauge, because of the days being shorter, would be a way to help people. To let them say, look, it's getting better. Don't worry. Soon, we're gonna see much cooler weather and cloudy days, and then the next thing you know, we'll get some rainfall, and it's all gonna be good. So enough on that. We got the pomp and circumstance surrounding the Supreme Court nomination. I like the woman very much more than I like this Kavanaugh guy. Kavanaugh